Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Win Sports Life podcast. Today we have once again another special guest by the name of Wally Martinez, not Joseph Martinez, Wally Martinez.
Somos primos.
He wants to be part of the family. We're gonna see if it works out. This is the trial period. Not the best. Oh no, you mean you're primos with Joseph? Okay, my fault.
With Joseph, yeah.
Yeah, you
guys.
guys.
Get us a primo too. We can.
Hey man, you know, through Atlanta United, I guess we can be cousins or whatnot. But Victor, I'll allow you to say hi to my friend Wally. I think this is the first time you guys have. Well, you have met before. I think we were talking about it earlier at
Yeah, at one of the tailgates. Hey Wally, thank you for coming on. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
And I don't want this to be a little awkward, but Victor is Americanista. Le va Arriba America. And then you got the Chiva fan here, Wally. And you guys are less obnoxious. As you can see, I'm rocking my Toluca. We got the top 3 champion, the most champion team of Liga MX. Sometimes Wally doesn't give me the credit my team deserves, but we do have 10 championships. Chivas has
12.
12?
12, we got 13.
Then we have 12.
They got 12. They got 12. We got 13.
So America has 13. Chivas has 12.
Chivas has 12. And you have 10.
But if you count the ones without help or anything, America has maybe like 6, 5.
Es lo que dicen. Have you went into the 60s and the 70s? Because I know that's when Chivas won a lot of their championships as well as America. So this is kind of a question for you all.
They're Campeonismo. They're all. I think there's only like one left, but pretty much they all have like died. But no, I think honestly it's one of those Campeonismos era where you just look at YouTube, because I don't remember any of it. I mean, I wasn't alive, but it's basically just YouTube. I mean, I saw like Chavez and all them, and you look at the difference. Like right now, like the passion those players used to put. Like if they didn't like something, they would all get in a fight or something. Like they actually used to put like passion. That game, it was like either the ball passes or the player. It's not both of them. So it was awesome. It's a little different now. Especially looking at the players. We took a big L this weekend, and the players there are kind of just like talking and being friendly with the other players. I'm like, man, y'all gotta step it up a little, get some fighting words in there, some passion. Especially
everybody, buddy.
Yeah, especially because everybody it's gonna be trolling us. The Gonzalo and all those memes. It's we suffer while the players are enjoying.
I do want to give a shout out to my cousin Gonzalo Hernandez. He's actually his name's actually Gonzalo, and he's actually a Chivas fan. But shout out, bro. Hope you're listening to this, and hopefully we can get you on in the future. We can talk about that meme going around and how you feel about it, because we got the Edgar meme. I'm sure you guys have seen it with the. We'll put a little video here. This is the Edgar meme, and yeah. Crazy stuff, man. I don't think there's anything out there with Victor or Wally or Walter out there. But going back to the subject, it is true, right? I mean, back in the day, I think when it comes to all sports, like the old school guys, I mean, they were more savage. I mean, think about Michael Jordan, right? The whole Michael Jordan versus LeBron, and people say, well, in Michael Jordan's era, there was a lot of, it was more rough, right? To be able to score a basket, and it's a little bit more hardcore back in the day. And now, everybody's a lot of rules now. Everything's like a little bit lighter. But look, that Clásico, that was insane. But before we dive into all that, I do kind of want to recap. Like, Wally, how did you and I meet? I mean, this was more, was it via text messages or a group chats? Because I remember, like, I have a picture in 2015 where I went to Fado's to catch a Clásico. It's at Barcelona, Real Madrid. And I think I saw you. There's like a picture that you and I are together. And then after that, was it just like when Atlanta United started? Is that kind of what, or was it the blue lot with the Seleccion Mexicana in 2016?
I think didn't we start off at the blue lot, and then we went to go watch the Clásicos, and then I think ever since then Atlanta United started, and it was kind of like getting the tailgates together, and we would all meet up there and link up. But But I think the blue lot is where it actually all started. Because I remember I saw you there interviewing people when we were grilling out, getting some drinks in. You were there, but I don't remember half that day, to be honest with you.
You're good. So that
Sounds
was
like a fun time.
It was
that
a fun
was
time.
2015. That was 2015. I do remember. So it was Copa Oro. So Victor, you weren't there, but that was the match of that. Yeah,
Was that the USA? Was that the Mexico Panama and the
Yeah, that was
USA
the
Jamaica,
doubleheader.
right?
Yeah.
The doubleheader.
we actually
Yeah,
had
this guy sat with the American Outlaws. It was crazy.
That's right. So just a quick side note to that game. That I actually bought front row seats, and I didn't even know I was sitting with the Porra de Estados Unidos. So like we pulled up to the USA Jamaica game, right? And I'm like walking. I'm like me and wifey, we were the only ones rocking the Mexico jersey, and we got to all the way to the front row. And it's funny because the guy was like, "Hey man, like I know these are your seats, but like, is it cool if I just do my thing here with the drum?" I'm like, yeah, it's all good. So we just kicked back right there on the stairs. We were still front row, like at the bottom of the stairs, you could still kind of lean over or whatnot. So it was crazy just seeing them, lose, and a lot of I want to say a lot of U.S. men's national team fans. I guess they say like Atlanta had a bad rep because they went there and they lost. But I wonder, maybe during the Gold Cup or something, USA would get an opportunity to play at the Benz. I think it would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's the match that started the whole Atlanta United thing. I mean, if you look back, everyone used to say Atlanta's not a soccer city. Nobody here likes soccer. And, the band, it wasn't the Benz, it was the Georgia Dome at that time.
Right.
We sold it out. I mean, I know it was like a double header, semifinal, Copa Oro. But, I mean, it was sold out. And then after that, I think there's a couple more scrimmages where Mexico came, the U.S. came, and it kept getting sold out. And that's at that point they said, hey, we need a soccer team here. Because it was announced at 2016 when they were like, hey, we're going to start Atlanta United. I don't know if you remember that date, but, when
it was actually 2015. Yeah. Like they had that whole event with Arthur Blank, and they made it.
Yeah, Arthur. Yeah, that's it.
And I think you have that scarf behind you. That's
yeah, I do.
2017 with the retro MLS.
Yeah, the
Nice.
orange one. That orange and I think it's orange and red. Yeah, but that's what officially started everything. And nobody thought that Atlanta would have any soccer fans. I mean, before they used to come, when we used to have like the what was it, International Cup? Was it International Cup when America played Man City and a couple other teams came out here? The dome was semi-empty. It actually started filling out. Like that doubleheader was the first sold-out game that we had here, if I'm not mistaken.
And it was, I think, America played AC Milan. I think we won.
Was it AC Milan?
I think it was AC Milan. Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been AC.
Ronaldinho was playing there.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
On TV.
I think Man City came as well, right? It was a doubleheader, wasn't it?
It was that tournament they used to have, International Champions Cup or something.
Yeah.
Now they try to do it, but I remember that tournament.
Yeah, because I remember it was when what was that guy from that striker that's in Inter Milan right now, and he played in Roma and all those teams. What's his name? Not Shevchenko.
He's still playing right now?
Yeah, he's still playing. I think he's at Inter right now. Can't remember that guy's name. I'll remember later. But he was it's actually his national team came out here, and it was them against. Oh, he was actually still playing at City, and I think they played a Mexican team. I can't remember which one. I thought it was.
I think you're talking about. Is it Bosnia? Yeah,
he's from Bosnia. Yeah.
Yeah. You talking about Shevchenko or not Shevchenko? What's his name? Tseko?
Is that his name? Tseko? No.
Split up.
From Bosnia. He's from Bosnia though, and he was playing at City at that time. I think they had Robinho too, and I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, they had a great team. Yeah, those are fun matches to watch on TV. Some America won some, they lost some, but it was a good little tournament.
Yeah, a lot of it without help. They lost pretty much most of it, right?
I like this guy.
It says here, I looked it up. It's Jeko. I don't know how to spell his freaking name, man. This is But yeah, I know you know about the striker. Here's a picture of the guy. This guy here.
There we go.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool, man. Like I think that's true. When we met at the Blue Lot, those events, and then I met, your people from Cobb County. I reside in Gwinnett County, so it was kind of cool that we all share that passion for the beautiful game. Obviously, Atlanta United came about, and then that just gives you more opportunities, to hang out with people that share the same passion. But Wally, kind of give me a recap of your life, man. I mean, no pressure here, but like pretty much like, I don't know, a quick little bio, like how you ended up where you are today. Maybe the start of, where you're from, as you grew up, have you always lived here in Georgia? Just anything you want to add to any story you want to provide to us about your life. As quick little
Just something like how I ended up as a Chiva fan.
I mean, we don't even have to touch that. I think just like a quick little, like, what do you do? Like just a quick little bio, quick little LinkedIn description.
Yeah. So originally, well, my family's Mexican, but I was born in California, in LA. I lived out there till I was like maybe like 14. I moved out here since 16 years ago. I miss LA all the time. It's crazy. It's a lot different out here. I moved out here, and honestly, like I had never seen like, white people over there. It was just, it was the hood. I used to
it's like another Mexico, right? Pretty much where you?
Yeah.
What part of California?
LA, South Central.
Okay.
So I honestly, I used to live about 10 minutes away from the Staples Center.
Wow.
The crypto now. But I used to live 10 minutes from there. I mean, it was basically the hood, shootings everywhere. I mean, at least once a week. Luckily, it's I moved out of there. It's I've been here for 16 years now. It's great. I love it here. I will never go back to LA, even though I miss it. I mean, it's different. The culture's it's crazy. It feels like home, but yeah, you can't make a living out there. And actually, it was the games, the amistosos that the Seleccion used to go out and play over there. I remember one specifically that I went with one of my uncles and I think one of my cousins. It was like a Mexico or Argentina game, and it was at the Home Depot Center. It's not called Home Depot anymore, but where LA Galaxy's at.
Yeah.
I think we lost the match like 2-1, but honestly, the atmosphere was crazy. And walking out, it's like Argentinians are crazy. And then, we're leaving the arena and we're walking back home, like to get in our car. And like, I'm like maybe like 8 or 9 years old. And the first thing I see is like some Argentinian lady with like some big boobs, like flash us. And I'm like, yeah, this is where I'm from.
So that's when I like sensational.
Yeah, so I was like, man, this is where I'm from. I love soccer. So I mean, I was playing it at like I think 6 or 7 years old, but I didn't like it. And then after that, I was like, man, I gotta keep playing. I gotta go to soccer games. So after that, we used to go to like all the Mexico games. There was actually at the the Rose Bowl. They had an America Chivas Clásico there, and it's one of those like crazy games. Even though it was an amistoso, there was people there like they were throwing like cups full of pee like on the fans and shit. I mean, it's nasty, but it was that atmosphere where back then, I mean, it's almost 20 years ago where the atmosphere was like a lot different from now. Like if we do that now, everybody's gonna start crying, complaining, get kicked out. Back then, everybody took it. I mean, there was fights all over the stadium at that point. I think after that, I didn't go back to a Clásico until I was maybe 20 years old down in Azteca. But I mean, going to those games, it was crazy. I loved it, and that's what really started my passion for soccer. Just experiencing that, as an 8-year-old going to a game and looking at some boobs,
That's wild, man. So before you moved to Atlanta, like you were in California, of course. Were you vibing with MLS back in the day? I mean, like, or Galaxy or San Jose, anything like that?
So MLS wasn't like popping back then. It's not popping now, but it's a little bit more popular. But no, back then, LA Galaxy was the only team we had. But it wasn't like anybody would go see them. I think half the time the stadium was empty. There was
they had Chivas USA right back then.
Chivas
was that not around?
Yeah, when Chivas USA
was turned into LAFC, I think.
Yeah,
They did
Yeah.
something like that.
So basically, what Vergara sold the rights to the team, and then they moved it to and it became LAFC. But no, actually, it's funny because like back then, I used to still play soccer over there, and the winner of the soccer tournaments would actually get the chance to experience an MLS game, and they'll give you the chance to actually walk the field while the game was on, or actually before the game when players were warming up and stuff like that. And I still have one of like the one of those KFC shirts they give out there. I guess KFC was a sponsor there. But Valderama, El Pibe Valderrama actually signed it, and Kobe Jones signed it, and I think El Pescadito Ruiz. That's when they played the Rapids, and I think Pescadito and Kobe were in Galaxy. But, I mean, it wasn't like back then I didn't know who any of those three players were. You know, I didn't watch MLS. And now you look at it, and I'm like, man, I should have never watched this shirt.
Dang, no, but I mean the fact that that happened, that's still cool. I mean, you still remember that, and those are pretty much the legends of like the first era of MLS, or they call it MLS 1.0. And I will have to disagree with you, man. I think MLS is popping, man. I think MLS is getting up.
Oh, it's definitely popping.
It is. It's a lot. Well, if you look at it in certain cities, like you have Nashville, you have Seattle, you have Atlanta, you have LA. Well, LAFC, LA Galaxy's not that, they're not crazy for it. But I mean, there is some cities that are pretty crazy for it. Especially, I actually want to go watch the El Clásico. I mean, El Tráfico. Or what is it called?
Yeah, El Trafico. You're right.
Tráfico Derby, yeah, or Clásico. I want to go watch that at the StubHub, and it wasn't that. Then I went to the Banks, and the atmosphere there is crazy. At the LAFC stadium, it's crazy. It's a lot different, and it's crazy to think of that. It's like maybe 3 or 4 years old. It's, I think LAFC's been it was founded,
2018, right? They came right after Atlanta.
18?
They came right after Atlanta United.
Okay, so yeah, so it's been like 5 years, and LA Galaxy's been there since day one, and they can't get the same support. It's wild.
It is strange, right? I guess because they're not directly in LA. It's more Carson, California.
It is Carson, yeah.
So they're not really in LA.
Yeah. I mean, and LAFC is really like LA, but a lot of it's like nobody likes Galaxy fans out there. They write things, they're like presumidos, and they think they're all that. I don't know. Never was a Galaxy fan. When Chivas USA came around, just because of the reason that it was Chivas USA. I mean, that it was a Chivas team, but I never played with all Mexicans. Yeah. They actually tried to play with all Mexicans, and the MLS didn't let them because of the whole, I guess, what would you call it, segregation?
Like,
I think I think
Yeah.
that's what they were saying, that it was going to be part of like segregation or whatever, so they didn't allow them to play with Mexicans. So I think they were only playing with Mexicans, Mexican Americans, and if they had like half nationality, like I think there was a player that was Salvadorian, but he was born in America. So I think that's the only way you would be able to play in Chivas USA. You had to be American and Mexican, I guess.
I think back then they were trying to do a Club America USA, but the name, it was going to be weird, so they never went through. They were trying to put it like in Texas, like a Texas team, but then that fell through. I think that would have been strange.
Yeah, I remember that.
USA,
Wasn't
America USA?
was
It's kind of weird.
Well, I was gonna play there too, right? And then after that didn't happen, he went to Chicago or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Wally, when you said you got here to Georgia or Atlanta when you were 14, like what was that like? Kind of like that all of a sudden change. Maybe why you moved over, and then when you did, how was life after that?
It was, when I started here, it was a culture shock. Like, dude, I couldn't go anywhere without, like, I don't know. I didn't feel comfortable here. And it's funny because the first month, it actually started snowing, and I had never seen snow in my life. I mean, we don't get snow out there. It was always hot. So, I mean, it was a lot different. Just starting all over at 14, I was having to make new friends, all that good stuff. I think it actually took me 2 or 3 years until I was actually in high school to actually feel comfortable in Georgia. It was a lot different. I mean, it was just like, you go from California where you can like, talk to anybody in Spanish, English, however you feel comfortable, and coming down here where, at that time, 10, 15 years ago, there wasn't a lot of Hispanics out here. It was just, speaking English to everybody, and it was a little hard. But I think, within the hitting high school, that's what changed, honestly. Going to high school, playing for the soccer team, that's when I started making friends, started partying, meeting new people. And just kind of like you were saying, going to the Mexico games, watching the Clásicos, you meet different people that way. And I think that's actually how I met Tapia through a soccer team, and that's how me and you linked up through Eric as well.
That's wild. I noticed that something that I admire about y'all. Y'all still play the game. You guys are still like involved. You guys have, I don't know if I would love for you to kind of give some insight into how all that started, because I'm not really sure who exactly runs the show, but, I've seen like Cochos, and I've seen that you coach, and I've seen that you guys are always like either indoor, or there's a lot going on in Cobb County, which I love, right? Because I think at the end of the day, you're giving back to the community. Can you kind of give us some insight into like how you got into all that, and any details that, people, might not know about, and definitely some insight into the leagues that you're participating in, stuff like that?
Yeah, so this whole Cochos project, it just started off like just a couple of us. Well, let's start off. Cochos was already, a team that was already playing. They were winning championships here in the local, Cobb County leagues. So at some point we all got old, and we're like, hey, what's gonna happen? When we were growing up, either you went to you played high school ball, and if you didn't go to college, you would just play in these local leagues. We didn't have anywhere else to go. No, nothing else, to be honest. It's just these local leagues, and a dead end. So basically, what we said is, hey, we're gonna try to start something where it doesn't depend on how much money you have to play elsewhere. A lot of these leagues here in the U.S., if you don't have money, then you don't get exposure. You don't get to go. You don't go play in these bigger leagues. And there's a lot of talent out here. If you look at it, there's players that, let's say, in high school that, they still don't work. Their parents are, working hard to, just try to provide. They don't have the extra funds to try to come out here and say, hey, I can spend $1,400 to $2,000 a season to have my son playing a good team, and that's kind of the cost that it's right now. It's anywhere from $1,400 to $2,000 per season every 6 months. So you're talking about almost $4,000 a year just to play ball in a decent team, without being out here, in these local leagues that if you get injured, that's the end of you and they don't care. So we kind of wanted to have like a semi-pro team. It's a lot of work, a lot of time. I think especially, Jerry, he's the one that puts in most of the time. He schedules the games, gets in touch with the players. I help out with coaching, kind of bringing in some new ideas. So right now we have Cochos where we're doing a whole rebrand of, I think it's going to start, we're going to call it Cobb United. We want to bring in these we want to bring in this high school players that are just graduated, or, in 25 under, somewhere in that age range, where honestly they're just playing in these local leagues, and we want to give them that exposure. A fun fact is that we're actually trying to remember the right back's name. Shaq Moore plays for the USA. He went to the World Cup. His dad is helping us out, and his uncle's helping us coach as well. So he's going to help us get college scouts out here, UPSL teams, stuff like that, to bring in players that are pretty good. And once we know that they're ready to take that next step, let them go and take that next step. For us, it's not about the money or anything like that. It's to give players that chance to, hey, I wasn't able to play ball after high school. I think you have about 4 years after you graduate to still kind of play ball. So if they're in that window, try to get them some scouts out here to go play college ball. If that's not an option, then go to like a UPSL, something like a semi-professional league where they can have that exposure and get recruited as well. Again, it's a long-term project. It's a lot of time, but we want to give back to the community. We want to make sure that, that everyone gets a chance, because when we were growing up, we didn't have the Atlanta Uniteds. We didn't have any semi-pro teams. We didn't have anything like that. It was just these local leagues that, kind of playing for fun. And it was fun winning championships, but, at the end of the day, you didn't get exposures, and we want to make sure that, everybody has a chance to better their lives. It's hard. The hardest thing is having players commit to something, because not everybody is looking at the bigger picture. Not everybody is on the same page. It's, how can I put it in words? The commitment to it. If they don't, a lot of these players that are in these local leagues, they get paid, $25, $50, $100 to go play a match, but they're not looking at the bigger picture of like, hey, we're trying to get this exposure for you. $100 is nice this week, right? But you can get a scholarship out of this. You can go play on a semi-professional level. Once, a lot of these semi-professional levels, once you win these cups, you're able to go to a U.S. Open Cups, play these MLS teams, play academy teams like the Atlanta United too. Actually, Atlanta United has about 3 teams that play in the UPSL. So you get to play MLS teams as well. A lot of actually, there's a lot of I don't know if you remember El Recodito from Morelia. You remember him?
Yeah.
He was in
of course.
He was in one of the so he's actually out here in one of the UPSL teams coaching as well. So there's there's retired professional players from MLS, from Liga MX that are actually still like either playing or coaching out here. So, it's something that we want to give back to the community. We want to make sure that players look at the vision and say, hey, we're giving up this money here, but we're getting that exposure. So the project is to have players come in and build something for themselves, not just for us, but for themselves, have a better future. And when we were playing, we didn't get that. It was hard for us. I mean, we didn't even have an MLS team here. It was just go play for fun. So a lot of us didn't take it serious. We were kind of like, hey, let's go party, and then after that we'll go play some ball,
Yeah.
We'll go to the game through those. But now it's a little different. We're looking at a bigger picture, and we're hoping that players, look at that same picture and say, hey, we want to help them, because, without any good players, then we're not anything either. So they depend on us as much as we depend on them. So it's a project. It's gonna be long term, but we're hoping within 2 or 3 years we have a couple players that are gonna be playing college ball. So there's this guy, Shaq's dad. He's actually helping us with that, getting recruits in and all that good stuff. So hopefully, in the next couple of years, you hear, hey, Cochos or Cobb United send out a few players to college or to UPSL or to MLS. Hopefully,
It's gonna happen, man. I love what you guys are doing. I'll follow the pages. Definitely, please provide me with a link so I can just add it to the description, just in case anybody wants to kind of look.
Yes, that'd be great for anyone in the area that's trying to, that probably doesn't know about this, that hopefully watches this and can reach out to you and your team. That'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. We're always looking for players, sponsors, anything like that. Any type of support, even just going to the Instagram page and liking the post, anything, any type of support is appreciated.
Perfect. So yeah, we'll have all those links in the description. You guys check that out, please, and support the community. And any questions, you can hit those links and find out more information. So, Wally, you already kind of gave us some insight into your childhood. Growing up in California, coming to Atlanta. Being part of, soccer teams through high school. Now you're, building this great, you could pretty much call it an academy in the works. But, the passion for sports, right? I mean, what sports teams do you go for and what players do you support? Is there kind of a list you can give us so we can kind of dive into each one of these? I'm curious. I kind of know, but I just want to double check I haven't missed one.
So in sports like soccer, I would say, Chivas is the number one. That was actually the first team I supported. and it's funny how that started because, you know, at first I was just watching Liga MX and you had like these, when I started watching Liga MX, you had America, which was like a super team. They had Bam Bam Zamorano and, you know, you remember that era. So,
Yeah.
so when I started watching that, I was like, yo, America's a really good team. And Chivas at that point was kind of struggling. But then, you know, like you start thinking like, hey, which team do I go for? You know, my family's not really a big soccer family like my dad. So, you know, I started playing soccer because one of my uncles, he actually took all our cousins and we're around all the same age and we're playing on the same team. I think the youngest one was actually my girl cousin, and she was probably like 5 years old, and our oldest one was probably about 8 years old. So it was about 12 of us that used to play on the same team that were all related. So he used to take us every single Saturday to go play some ball, and we used to, you know, stay after, go eat some pizza, and watch the Liga MX games there. So after that, he kind of just like, you know, he was a big Chivas fan. So, you know, that's where I kind of started getting the passion for the team. And then when I started kind of understanding more of the game, you know, you start kind of getting your favorite players or ídolos, whatever you want to call it. And that's kind of like when Bofo came in for me, and Alberto Medina, Omar Bravo, those basically El Tridente. And, you know, I'm a big Bofo fan, you know, and everybody's always like, El Cuau, El Cuau, El Cuau. I'm like, nah, Bofo's for me.
Yeah, we know.
You go in.
And it's funny. I don't know if you guys remember, but when he came to Chivas, he started bringing out his own shoes. Like he had I think he was one of the first Mexican players that had a shoe for created for him. So he had the one that was like for his mom, and then like a couple other shoes, and it was hard to get them over here because nobody would sell them. So I would have to go into, like, I think it was like called Mercado Libre, which is like the eBay.
Oh yeah, it's like the Mexican.
The Mexican eBay, and I would have to have him like shipped to LA and to get his shoes. I mean, I went through a struggle to find him, but I was like, I gotta have his shoes. That was my first big idol. But you know, like there's just a few teams that, you know, I support. Just Chivas, Barca. I like Barca and Liverpool. And I always supported any Mexicans that used to play in the Premier League or any other squads. You know, I used to kind of, when Vela used to play at Arsenal, I used to like, well, not like him, but I would support it just because Vela was there. Or, you know, when Chicharito was at United, kind of support Chicharito. I mean, I would always hope that United would lose, but, you know, I was like, you know, Chicharito's there. Hopefully he gets a goal or two. You know, kind of any player that was over there in the extranjero. Because back then we had minimum amount, I think, until, what was it, the Mundial where Salcido and Osorio and Pavel were. They got
2006.
2006, yeah, that's until then, you know, we didn't have enough players out there. But, you know, Barca was one of the first few teams because of Ronaldinho. I remember watching that commercial where he's like just hitting the crossbar. You guys remember that one?
It's like when YouTube came out. That was like one of the first viral videos that Ronaldinho went.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, and the one with the Brazilian team where they're in the locker room. That was one of the first ones, right?
Joga Bonito, right? That
the
whole
Joga
campaign
Bonito.
from Nike.
Yeah,
That was nostalgic times.
Yeah, those commercials are crazy. And Liverpool is, it's funny how it started, because when we started playing like with my family as a youngin, we actually, our team was called Liverpool. So, you know, I didn't watch Premier League until probably about 15, 16 years old. So I didn't even know what Liverpool was until, like, you know, until then. But, you know, at that point, Liverpool sucked. I mean, we were, I think, fighting 8th, 9th place when I started watching them. But I was like, hey, I like Liverpool because that, you know, that was the name of our team back then. So that's how I started liking Liverpool, actually.
What year was that, Wally? When
I started watching them?
Yeah. You can maybe give us a time frame real quick, just to kind of get an idea.
That's when El Niño Torres was there, right before when El Niño Torres got there. Yeah, Jar was still there, right before then. Yeah. So when El Niño Torres actually it came through, I was like, man, I need to start watching the games, because, you know, El Niño Torres back then was like crazy good. Yeah, so that's when I started watching them, and that's really the only reason I started following, Liverpool was, hey, I used to play in a younger team, and we were called Liverpool, so that's the team I want to follow. And that's honestly that's the reason why I started following, because I mean, growing up, I don't think I really even had access to the Premier League. I think it was really exclusive back then. It was kind of like those pay-per-view type of channels that you had to pay extra to be able to watch them. And I didn't know much of them, so I was like, I didn't get access to it until like I actually started kind of like the Champions League games and stuff like that. That's when the Milan Liverpool final. I started following a little bit before then, so I still remember that final. But yeah, it was just because of that team. It was called Liverpool, and that's, I guess, hey, started supporting Liverpool because of that.
And since we're already on Liverpool, I mean, was that final against AC Milan, was that your favorite memory, or what would you say is one or two favorite memories of supporting Liverpool? Any matches you remember from, anything that makes your heart beat?
The final, and then the last final they won against Spurs. That was pretty cool. And winning the Premier League. The Champions League, the Premier League. But honestly, I think it was that remontada where they beat Barca. Even though I'm a Barca fan, but coming back from actually coming back from, what was it, a 3-1? No, 3-0.
It was like 3-0. 3-0, yeah.
Yeah, 3-0, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back and winning it in Anfield 4-0. It's one of those games. And I was at work when it was like halftime, it was 1-0. I'm like, we're not coming back. I was like, I'm gonna shut down my phone. And then I get the first notification, 2-0. I'm like, turn it back on. But at that point, it's kind of like I wanted Liverpool to win. I like Barca, but it was more of Ronaldinho being there, the way they played, and when he left and Messi came through, it's like he took over. So big Messi fan here. So I still like Barca, but it was more of Chivas, Liverpool, Barca. And I like Napoli too, just because of Maradona.
Napoli. Okay, so see, I didn't even know that you like Napoli, I guess, as a fourth favorite there. And I'm assuming now with El Chucky Lozano, that's got to give some bonus.
Napoli is in the run to be a champion so far.
I hope so.
Serie A.
And Champions League.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think who do they have? If they beat Milan, they play Inter, right? Or
I believe so.
it's Inter Benfica. Yeah, they play the winner of Inter and Benfica, which most likely I don't think Benfica's gonna beat Inter. I doubt it. I hope not. But
yeah, you're right.
I don't know if did you ever get a chance to see any of those Maradona highlights in Napoli?
I've seen a couple, but I actually have I can't find it now, but I do have a Napoli, like a retro one for Maradona. It was a remake after he passed, unfortunately, but I have a Boca Juniors one. I like to collect a lot of things, so I did buy one. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah. No, actually, if you ever get a chance, watch the Maradona. They have a movie about him on Prime Video, I think. It's crazy. It shows like when he's in Italy, and I guess they linked up with like some drug lords or whatever it is, and they were just giving him like all the cocaine he wanted, and that's how he became addicted.
Is that where that started?
Yeah, that's how it all started.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it shows you like the whole background story of like when they kicked him out from Barcelona and they sold him to Napoli. I think that was how it started. But and then it shows you like how he gets addicted to drugs, how he was playing on some games already like on cocaine. I mean, it's crazy, and they actually have like live footage of like of when it's happening. So you see like the locker room footage on there. It's cool. It's a cool backstory of him. And it gives you a totally different image of like when you first see him, of just kind of like, watching his highlights on YouTube. It's totally different. I recommend it. Watch it.
All right. Well, have to tune in.
Yeah, Maradona, pretty epic. Like his story, kind of definitely sad at the end of the day, right? How
Tragic how it ended.
what could have been maybe had he not, hit the coke lines. Who knows, right? I mean, I think that, but it does. It is part of his history, and then I still don't understand how you could just score a goal with your hand and like it's all good. Like I'm not really sure how that works, but hey, look, he did his thing, just like Messi did, and to me that's why I put Messi kind of higher up to me, just because I feel he didn't need these extra substances outside of maybe as a kid, right? He needed help to grow, and that story about how he needed some extra help to get there. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, I'm also a Barca fan, so I like Messi and what he did. So kind of we're a little bit all over the place here, and we'll kind of circle back. But like, speaking of Argentina, like how did you feel about the World Cup that just passed and Argentina winning? I mean, I know you like Maradona, but like, how do you feel about the next one that came up, which was Messi?
I love Messi, but I mean, I wanted him to win the World Cup. I didn't want him to retire without winning a cup. But I hate Argentina with a passion. They hate the Mexican national team. They honestly, like, they'll prefer for us to not even make it to the World Cup. I don't know if you've seen anything like online and all that, but Argentina hates Mexico with a passion.
There is a battle, and it goes beyond soccer, I believe. It's just the countries I don't know why.
Yeah, they don't mix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they hate us. They actually had one of the an interview with Tata on Twitter, and like him talking about like the Mexican soccer, like how it's never gonna change. And then if you look at the comments, it's like Argentina fans like talking shit about Mexico and the players, and they're talking about like how Chaquito Jimenez, he's one of our top players right now in Europe, and they're like, man, for us, he's like, we wouldn't even call him up. You guys can have him. He's kind of like our leftovers, So I'm like, but I mean, to me, honestly, I wanted Messi to retire with the cup, but I was hoping France would have won that. I was undecided.
I bet.
And just for the fact that Messi missed that PK and that actually eliminated Mexico too.
That is true. That is true. Had Messi made that penalty against Poland, we would have advanced. Then, I mean, who knows, right? I mean, at this point, is it a good thing?
The whole Twitter battle.
But do you guys think that us not qualifying to the second round was a good thing for us, or as not us, but as the Fútbol Mexicano?
Yes. I think that the whole corruption, all the things that has been happening in the past 15 years in Mexico, it finally caught up to them. And it's going to be controversial, but I'm happy that happened, because finally, I hope that these next 4 years we finally do something. We got to go back to producing players. De las Fuerzas Básicas, Chivas, América, Pumas, Pachuca, Atlas. We're not doing that anymore. Chivas has lost the way because ya no tiene jugadores de la cantera. They buy the best Mexicans for millions and millions of dollars, y esos jugadores no les importa el equipo. Yeah. So that's affecting la selección, because ya no salen Chicharitos, ya no salen Salcidos, ya no salen Johnny Magallones, Osvaldo Sánchez, Héctor Reynosos. I mean, all those players that Benal Medinas, all those players that we used to have in la selección, we don't have that anymore. Now, we're struggling. That's why we hicimos el ridículo en el Mundial. That's why, because of all the corruption.
Yeah, and even América or Cruz Azul, they're not producing those players anymore.
Mm-mm.
And they actually, there's a video on Facebook. It talks about, like, there's a recording of Decio de Maria. She used to be the
corrupt man. He's in jail.
Yeah, she's the old vice president, I think he was.
Destino confiándose de María.
Yeah.
Criminales esa gente.
Yeah, and he was talking to Jesus Martinez, the president of Pachuca, and he's talking about like how they're not giving him the money that he's paying for transfers. He's like, hey, I just a Tijuana le acabo de vender un jugador, no me han pagado, yo le compré un jugador a ellos y luego se los deposité el dinero. And it talks about like this whole corruption of what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, a lot of people were like, yeah, we need the Jesus Martinez and the Martinez family to kind of run the league, because I don't know if you saw the rumors, but they wanted to bring El Loco Bielsa to be the técnico for the Seleccion, but everybody else was like, no, we're not bringing him, just for the fact that Jesus Martinez was the one that negotiated everything and wanted to bring him in. They didn't want him to have power over the Seleccion. And when they said we're not going to hire him, he stepped aside and was like, well, you guys take care of whoever you guys are going to hire. So I think They actually, and it's crazy who were the people assigned to actually assign our head coach. They had the guy from Toluca, what's his name, Hank. Not Toluca, Tijuana, Hank. They had the owners from Necaxa, America, Chivas, and
the Santos and Atlas.
Santos and Atlas.
Yeah.
So the worst.
I can't even pronounce his name, but yeah.
Yeah. Oreg. You know.
Grupo, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, these were the teams that you have a Necaxa, you have a Tijuana. What have they done in the league in the past 6 years? Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
I mean, even Chivas. I'm a big Chivas fan, but what have we done? Nothing. And it's a big difference. Like, I mean, I love Chivas with the passion, but when the original Vergara, when Jorge Vergara died and his son took over, it was just a big difference. I mean, back then when Vergara was when he was in charge, there's videos of him talking and him explaining what he wanted to bring to Chivas, and even players, like, after doing interviews, they used to say, like, hey, like, he told us that we would have to go to school, learn English, like, basically have a better lifestyle for us if we wanted to play for Chivas during, like, the academia. He's like, if we missed school, he wouldn't let us play. Basically, if we didn't want to go through that whole growing mentally as well, he was like, he would not let us play for Chivas. He would kick us out. He's like, hey, if you guys don't want to be here mentally, physically, and all that good stuff, he's like, y'all can't play for Chivas. So when his son took over, now you have, like, all these players that, I think there was a video of Alexis Vega partying right after we're losing the Clásico 4-2. If Vergara was here, it wouldn't matter who it was. He would have kicked them out. His son's just kind of like
Alexis. All those young players, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't.
And that's the problem. That's the problem, because Alexis is from Toluca, no disrespect, but he has no connection with Chivas at all. He came for the money. He's one of the highest paid players in all of Liga MX. He doesn't care. They need to go back to get the jugadores de la cantera, the ones that actually care about the team. That's the problem with America too. With a lot of these teams, that they're bringing in guys that are making so much money that they don't care about the club. They don't care. They're there for the paycheck. Like you were saying, they don't have the passion, the connection with the team. That's the problem.
Yeah, and that is because, I mean, I don't know if you know the background with Pocho Guzman, but he was originally a Chivas Academy player. I think he was there right before. He actually got Chivas bought a player from Pachuca, and they gave him Poncho in exchange. And Poncho, he took off in Pachuca, and then he came back this season. But if you look at it, I mean, this player, like, even though he didn't do anything in the Clásico, but the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, there's videos of him in the locker room, like, encouraging the players, being a leader, actually showing what Chivas is about. And then you see other players like Alexis, Vega there. He's been in the team for over 3, 4, 5 years, maybe. Well, hasn't been that long, but 3 years, I would say. And, he's not even a leader there. They brought Pocho, and he's already the captain. That shows you the type of players and, former academy players that bring that passion to the team. And they don't have that anymore. There's not a lot of teams. I mean, even though I hate Henry Martin, and I don't think he identified. Well, I don't think he's not an academy player for America, is he? I don't think he is.
No, I believe he came.
He came in Tijuana,
wasn't it?
He was. Yeah, he's definitely not. It wasn't for an America, but it could be Tijuana or possibly Outlawz, one of those two. But yeah,
But I mean, the passion he brings for the team, like, he shows that even though he's not from the academy, he's showing what America is really about. And then you have these players that are from the academy, the America, and they come in and try to get fancy with it, and then after a few games, they don't do anything. They disappoint.
Córdoba, Lainez, where are they now? Now they're in Tigres.
And Tigres,
Lainez,
the bench.
The Mexican Messi, and look where he ended up. He failed in Europe, and he came back to Tigres for the money. Unbelievable.
They need to send them to Toluca, just to those teams that don't really matter,
They do matter, sir. They do matter. They make up the league. We're pretty important outside of maybe not popular, but we're definitely representing. We have the amazing Estadio Nemeso 10. I mean, we're our own thing. You feel me? Like a nice fan base. Look, You probably didn't come to the Atlanta Toluca game, bro, but there was a lot of Toluca fans, man. It was nice to see a lot of us.
That Cardoso era. That was a wild era.
I mean, those were the times when Toluca was running the show back in 98, 2000, 2002, 2005, then to 2008, 2010, and then after the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, we've lost like 3 finals, and now we're just now getting really good with Nacho Ambriz, which I believe should have been the coach of La Selección Mexicana, in my opinion. I feel like Nacho Ambriz has that experience. So, right, okay, look, there's corruption, unfortunately, right? There's things that went downhill. Tata Martino, right? He was Argentinian, didn't want to eliminate Argentina. Let's be honest. That's why he came out with that horrible game plan, because we could have taken them out. Had we had Miguel Pio Herrera as the coach, I'm just throwing a name out there. Believe me, we would have played our hearts out and we would have caused some damage, and Jimenez would have been there, and a lot of players that deserve to go would have been there. But now there's a new era. So how do y'all feel about Diego Cocca? There's some games coming up for CONCACAF Nations League. It's kind of exciting to see like this new era, right? What are your thoughts, either Wally or Victor, whichever order you guys want to go in, of this road to 2026 FIFA World Cup?
I mean, I don't know if Diego Cocca was the right coach for this team. I would have loved to see another chance for Pio Herrera, but like Wally was saying, it is a little suspicious of how he got there too, because the people in power, I guess, chose maybe someone they can, I don't want to say manipulate, but maybe someone that kind of play along with the storyboard. Bielsa he wanted to come. He said yeah, but he was demanding a lot of power. He wanted control over not only just a big national team, the youth teams, and he wanted to be fully in control. And they're like, no, you can't. We can't allow that. So Diego Cocca was probably the least coach of those coaches that was going to really demand anything. He's just happy to be here. But, he is a good coach. Ganó dos campeonatos con el Atlas. So, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I think we're all hurt of what Mexico did in the World Cup, but this is a new beginning. We are qualified to this next World Cup because we're hosting it, and we have the Nations League, which we have to win. We have to beat Suriname on Thursday and Jamaica, qualify to the semis and win this tournament. And then the Gold Cup's coming up this summer, Copa America 2024 next year, with all South American teams, all CONCACAF teams, most of them. So there's a lot of good games coming up. So I hope we got to support Cocca. We got to support the Seleccion, and hopefully they can deliver. And with these next 4 years, more young players, and hopefully there's big changes in Liga MX, because if not, I mean, we're going to pull a Qatar in 2026 if we don't get our stuff together, because USA is coming in hot, man. With all the players, they got over 70 players in Europe, and they keep producing young players. Mexico's falling way behind.
Wally, what are your thoughts?
No, same thing. I don't think he was the right manager for us. If you remember the top candidates for the position, it was Almada.
That's right.
Pachuca. And yeah, the one from Pachuca, and then it was El Loco, and the third one was Piojo. So I don't know where Cocca came out of, but within a few days they're like, hey, he's gonna get interviewed, and I'm like, okay, cool, nothing's gonna happen. But it just shows you who has the real power there. Honestly, I don't think he was the right manager, but at this point, you're just kind of like, let's support. Hopefully we get somewhere. I like the fact that he's bringing in young players, players that didn't get the chance with like Tata. You have the midfielders, Eric Sanchez from Pachuca. He brought in. Didn't he bring in the Marcelo Ruiz from?
Marcelo Ruiz, that's right, number 14 for Toluca. He's sensational player, man.
Yeah, and he's taking like the Chiquete. So a few young players, that with Tata they didn't really have a chance. He's bringing in basically a whole brand new midfield. He's taking in Nene Beltran. So I like that. I like that he's bringing in new players. I just don't know like the way he plays. I don't know if you guys remember when Atlas used to play. It was kind of like let's sit back and counter. They used to have the Argentinian striker Julio
Furch, gran delantero,
and Quiñones. So like you would give the ball to Quiñones, and he'll take 3 or 4 guys and just set them up there, and he'll tap it in. I don't think Mexico has a player that's the quality of Quiñones at this point right now. So I don't know how the game plan's gonna work. I'm interested to see that, but to me is if they don't change, if Mexico doesn't change their mentality of money before sports, like the Deportivo, nothing's gonna change. We have players that are young that have a chance to go to Europe, and they're asking $20 million for a Mexican player with no passport. Like, they still have to take un lugar de los extranjeros, because I think in Europe they only have 3 spots. They have to pay like 3 or 4 times de lo que cuesta un jugador de la MLS. So we're never gonna have the opportunity to take young players out from Mexico to go play in Europe until they change that. And they don't see that. They don't see that, hey, if we sell one player here for $3 or $4 million, we're going to produce another player within a year or two that might be the same quality or better, and we'll sell them for $3 or $4 million. Instead, they're trying to, get $20 million out of one player, when if they sell 3 or 4, they can get that $20 million, and it's better quality for the national team. They don't see that. All they care about is money. A lot of these owners, like the Hans, you look at them and they have all these sponsorships with like 5 different teams. If you look at it, el dueño de Tijuana is dueño de Caliente.
Grupo Caliente,
yep.
Yeah.
So he's sponsoring Chivas, a couple other teams.
Toluca.
So looking at it like Toluca. Oh yeah, Toluca too.
I think even America might have that too. They're everywhere. They got
they're everywhere. So you're thinking about it. He owns a team there, and he sponsors like 20 other teams there. So it's just, I don't know. They need to change all that. They bring back the Ascenso.
Yes.
All that stuff. Yeah. But, it's funny because when they announced all those changes, I was like, none of that's going to happen. And I started I follow Ricardo Salinas. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's the owner of TV Azteca. So he owns Mazatlan. He owns back then when it used to be
Morelia, right?
Morelia. He owns another team in Liga MX. I just don't know exactly.
Is it Juarez? No,
it's not Juarez. It might be. It's a TV Azteca team, though. I just don't remember which one. But he owns 2 teams there.
But Morelia, terrible. Que lo desaparecieron. They just got rid of Morelia overnight. Over 80 years of history. I think they erased it. I love watching Morelia games on Friday, and they just erased them. I can't believe that they would just do this. Like getting rid of LA Galaxy or DC United out of the blue. Yeah, you're gone.
Yeah.
That only happens in Mexico, man.
Yeah, and only in Mexico. And he's talking about
what's that here?
He has the worst team in the Liga, Mazatlan. And he's talking about hey, we don't need to bring back Ascenso and Descenso because it hurts, the investment. He's like, there's not going to be any new guys that are going to come into the league and want to invest and bring in better players and stuff like that. And everybody's, on the comments, they're like, hey, okay, so right now there's no Ascenso or Descenso. You have the worst team in the league. You don't bring in good players. So you're just proving your statements they're incorrect. You're not, you're bringing in players with what they were saying from the same agencias or agents that, they get their little cut from bringing in players. So he's like, you're not helping the Liga MX at all. You're just bringing in worse players. You're talking about hey, the last teams que queden del último, how they have to pay a fine. He's like, take that away, no fines, make sure that gets reinvested to the first team, and we'll start developing players, academies and stuff like that. But he's already in last place. He's not bringing in good players. He's not investing in his academy. I mean, none of that's happening, and there's no Ascenso and Descenso right now. So he's just proving the fact that, hey, if you don't have Ascenso and Descenso, you're going to get comfortable with your team and you're not going to care if they're in last place. Now,
yeah, because there's no consequence, right?
Yeah, no consequences.
Whatever.
Yeah, but if I have, let's say, I don't know how much a Liga MX team might be worth, but let's say 30 million just out there. And I have a horrible season, and I know that if my team gets relegated, now it's worth $2 million. Of course, I'm going to invest to try to keep them up there. But right now, no consequences, so I don't care. And, even that stadium, the Mazatlan, it's a brand new stadium. They can't even fill it up with, regalando los boletos. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was, the third match, their home match. I don't remember against who it was, but they said free entrada para todos los que vengan, and the estadio was maybe 75%.
Another thing that should be looked at. Why did Mazatlan? Why did Sinaloa? I mean, I think we all can kind of imagine how they got a team, but I cannot believe that that just happened out of the blue.
Yeah.
Teams come, they disappear, they bring in new ones. I mean,
and like that. That's why I like Pachuca, the Grupo Pachuca. Everybody's corrupt in some way. Yeah, everybody's gonna be corrupt no matter what. Like Jesus Martinez, nobody's gonna he's not gonna be perfect. To me, he's not. If you look at it, like every open case that they have on him, they always show that he's corrupt, but in the way that he gets government help. So the government pays him to have his teams in Pachuca or Leon and in the stadiums, to keep their teams there. So they give him money for that. But if you look at it, Leon and Pachuca have the cheapest tickets to get into a stadium. They have some of the best teams. They always bring good players.
Mm-hmm.
Young players, they give them the chance to go out to Europe. They sell them cheap. I mean, he's not perfect, but, in some way, you're always going to be corrupt. If you're going to be corrupt, be towards the government, not the people. Let that happen. I mean, it's not affecting us directly. And regardless of the fact, if he's not doing that, somebody else is going to do it, and you don't know how they're going to reinvest that money. At least he's putting it towards the team. He's bringing better players. He's improving them. I mean, Pachuca and Leon have some of the best academies there. They produce the best, youngest Mexican players around. I don't think in the past 10 years, I don't know which academy would be able to compete with them. I mean, I don't know. You guys know any academies in the league?
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I think Pachuca, Leon, Santos, you got to give it up to Santos too. They've been producing a lot of players. Not as much as we would like, but those are teams that are definitely doing much better things than. And it's interesting. Better than Chivas, better than America, better than Cruz Azul, than Pumas. I mean, why are those bigger teams? Why do they stop? Why do they stop producing? Wow.
Yeah. No, and even now, what is it? Tigres in Monterrey, they get that money from their owners, where supposedly a cementera thing owns Tigres.
Yeah.
But it's sketchy, who's really the owner of Tigres, because they never really had an official owner. And they get all these money to invest on extranjeros.
They spend money like it's nothing.
And so it's sketchy. Liga MX is the sketchiest place. And all this multi-propiedad, having 2 or 3 teams. I mean,
when America had Necaxa, San Luis, Azteca had Chiapas, they had Morelia, they had all these teams, Veracruz.
Yeah, they did have Veracruz.
A lot of weird stuff happened before.
Talking about Veracruz, they're getting a brand new stadium.
I did see that. Yeah, those are teams that like Chiapas, Veracruz, Atlante, teams that I missed. That they added that spice to the league, and now they're gone. Now we have Mazatlan, we have Juarez. I mean,
yeah, these teams that don't matter. No history.
I mean, yeah, had they came in through the right format, the right system, similar to Premier League, not to compare, tacos with sopes, but that would have been great. I would have respected that, right? Well, look, I think it's pretty clear, right? Liga MX, mucha corrupción. Man, it's kind of a buzzkill, to be honest. Man, it's crazy out there. But either way, the game must go on. So I gotta kind of start landing the plane here. I got you guys here, so it's not every day we get una águila, una chiva. Got to talk about it real quick. The clásico that just happened, outside of everything that's going on in the background, right? With all this corruption. But Chivas America, I was expecting a tie in my quinela that we all participate in. That's why I put a tie. I just figured it'd be back and forth. What the heck happened, Wally? And then Victor can kind of come back second.
So talking about quinela, just to start off, this is top 3 right here. You're first place, second, and you're right behind me, right? I think you're third.
Yeah, we're up there.
Yeah, top.
I will be sending the update tomorrow morning.
So I had Chivas winning. Honestly, we were in great form. I think we had just won the past 4 or 5 games in a row. We lost to Puebla, but the whole thing was El Pocho Guzman came out and was it's not about quien la hace, sino quien la va a pagar. So I was hyped out. I was hyped. I was like, man, we're about to play good. The first thing, we get scored on, and I think we lose our head right after that. It was like a first a spam about 5 minutes where they scored 2 goals back to back. We lost our head, and it's, if you notice, Chivas, their center backs are, I think El Chiquete maybe like 21, El Tiva is like 23, so it's really young players. So they lost their head. You always have to have somebody there with experience that's gonna like say, hey, bring some composure. Hey, we just got scored on once, maybe twice, but let's keep the ball. But what they were trying to do is they got scored on the first time. The first thing they do is boom the ball up there and try to score. It didn't happen. America came back and countered. I think Chivas was they overhyped themselves. They thought that, hey, it's gonna be a easier match because we're doing good. They thought that America was just gonna come in and lay down. It didn't happen. We got scored on first. After that, everybody just went on attack mode. There was a couple occasions, even though they didn't score, that it was El Cabecita and Henry, on that right side where Mozo was at, just attacking that side, taking advantage of the space that he was leaving, because, Chivas was just attack mode. And that's kind of where they're missing that leader, where they tell him, hey, just calm down. Just, it's one goal. You still have 70 minutes to go. Don't lose your head. And then within 20 minutes, get scored on 3 goals. And then, to be honest, a lot of people don't see the role of a goalie. But when you have a goalie that has experience, that's good, they bring that. They know how to organize the defense. They bring the players back. They see the whole field. They scream. They bring that calma to the game. And everybody just thinks that a portero is just there to atajar goles. No, the goalie we have now is really just that. But with a portero with more experience, a Cocca, or when we had Osvaldo, a big friends, a big leader back there. And that's what we're missing, a leader. They got scored on, they lost their head, and Lara gave us some hope. Scored that own goal.
Lara, always something with that kid.
I like him as a player. I just think that he's hot-headed,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's why me cae gordo, because he's like overhypes himself, and es de barrio. You can tell es de barrio.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Typical Mexicanista.
Yep. So we scored the first one, we scored the second one, and after that, you can tell that America has players with experience that been there, done that. The Martins, the Cabecitas, Jonathan Dos Santos, even though before that, I don't think he had even played that much, but he came in to the Clásico and bossed that midfield. I think he had probably a 90% passing efficiency. So, it's just those games that even though you don't play every game, you know when to step up and actually make a difference. And then, just a little differences with America and the Chivas squad. America has players in the back with, the guy from the Seleccion, the center back, Nestor Araujo. Yeah. So even that, and I like the goalie they have, Jimenez. I know he was doing horrible the first jornadas, but man, just having that saying, okay, Jimenez is not playing good. Now we're gonna bring in Malagon.
Malagon.
Yeah. We're gonna bring him, and this guy Malagon is he might not be a Seleccion material now, but he's been on that process. The Tata. He didn't make it, but he's a good goalie. I think actually he didn't make it because se lesionó, right? In one of the Seleccion amistosos or something. I don't know what happened to him, but he's a quality goalkeeper. And if Chivas, if our goalie gets injured, and even though he's not even the best goalie, that we have I think he's a 18-year-old keeper. So just that big difference. All our players are young. America has experience, and when you're winning 2-0, la experiencia makes a big difference. We didn't have it, so props to America. I hate to say it. I hate to give America, any sort of acknowledgement. I hate them with the passion. Not all of the fans, some of the fans are like, they get cocky and they started, bringing out the video of Gonzalo, and and then they brought out the picture of Henry Martin making the little celebration, the qual celebration.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I like that. Like actually, a lot of Chivas fans were offended because he made that little celebration. But I'm like, yo, that brings like the little spice to the game. If the Chivas players didn't get hyped up and were like, yo, like the next ball this player gets, lo voy a bajar. Like what else? What else do they have to do to bring that passion out of you? Like that makes you think like, hey, these players aren't equipped. They don't have the passion for the team, or no sienten la camiseta. But it's a process. They just started with the whole they call it the Europa change or whatever. I can't remember the exact name, but with Fernando Hierro and this new coach they have. So we'll see how it goes. It's bringing a different mentality. We used to fight for 18, 19 positions. Now we're in 4th. I'll take that, even though we lost.
Yeah, you're up there with us now, so welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. And I can't lie, Toluca has just now recently over the last year, has been fighting. We did make the final, but we got killed. But I do feel like us four will be competing up there alongside possibly Tigres and Monterrey cuando quieren. But Victor, what was your reaction to the Clásico against Chivas? On the other side.
Yeah, I definitely was not expecting to be up by that much right away. I thought it was going to be more of a intense match. But yeah, like Wally was saying, un gol de vestidor, como dicen, like right away, the cabecita, and then another one. I mean, that definitely, it gets, the winning team the hype. And then I was happy, Leo Suarez scored the other golazo. So it was a really good Clásico. I'm happy Henry Martin did the Cuauhtemoc celebration when he jumped inside the net, and then he got the yellow card because he was peeing like a dog, like that other celebration. But I mean, lately against Chivas, it's because some players, they do those controversial interviews before, and then that kind of gets us hyped. Like, okay, all right. I think it was a season or two ago when Chivas was like, oh, los América no tienen pasión or something. It's okay, all right, or no tienen they don't identify with the team. So Henry was all right, I'll show you, and then that's when he did the Cuauhtemoc Blanco celebration. So ever since then, he has that little, I guess, that jab against Chivas. Like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing the Cuauhtemoc Blanco celebrations, which I like. And even Cuauhtemoc came out today and he said, people are hating on him or they're talking down, like, hey, that's disrespect, we shouldn't do it. But he's like, I like it. I wish more players would be like Henry. And I think it does add that spice. I miss the Clásicos back then, and in Estadio Jalisco, those are partidazos in el Azteca. Probably my favorite, I wanted to ask Wally after this. My favorite one is probably 2005, 3-3 en el Azteca, partidazo. And then, remember in 2006 when y'all knocked us out in the Liguilla and then y'all were champion. And then in Clausura 2007, we come back when Ochoa had the jersey with the V, and y'all were so much, I think, better than us, but Ochoa kept stopping everything. I guess Omar Bravo. And then we went to the final, and then we lost to Pachuca, unfortunately. But esos clásicos, I mean, it really hasn't been like that in a lot of years. So I do miss with those type of clásicos. I want to ask you, Wally, what has been your favorite clásico? Mine was 2005 at 3-3.
That 3-3. I still remember that Reynoso goal where he just shot from
¿Qué jugador? Half. Oh man,
no, he wasn't technically he wasn't a good player, but the passion that he brought to it like made up for like his technical ability. Like he wasn't good at all. He was a leader back there.
Yeah,
that's what he had. He was a leader and he had a lot of passion. Like I remember watching an interview. I don't know if you ever seen on YouTube, but Ramon Morales has like a podcast.
Otro jugadorazo.
Yeah,
we need players like that.
Yeah, and on that podcast,
oh my god,
in that podcast he talks about like some of the moments and stuff like that, and they mention like how Reynoso, like they would go to practice like entrenando, and he wouldn't care if you were like his teammate or not. Like te bajaba, like he wouldn't let players go through. He's like, the same passion that he brought in the game, he'll bring it in entrenamiento. So they knew that you had to like entrenar like top notch. And now he's like, llegan los jugadores, they go to the locker room, they put their music on, they vibe, and then they get to the practice and they have a half-ass practice and go back to the locker room, vibe again. He's like, they don't care. They go home and don't worry about it. He's talking about like cuando perdían un clásico or something. He's like, he would get home and, se encerraba, no salía for a couple of days until se le pasaba el coraje. And, we don't have those players anymore. And, I don't know if you remember that clásico where, I think it was, they took a picture of Oribe Peralta with a couple of Chivas players. Chivas had just lost the clásico en el Azteca. I think it was like 2-0 or 3-0. And they took,
I think they were exchanging jerseys, right? They were exchanging jerseys. Everyone was like laughing, having a good time.
Yeah, I think actually Uriel Antuna was part of that too. And everybody's like, we just lost 3-0 and you guys are exchanging, jerseys with America. You can do that behind that doors. But it's just that passion is not there anymore. But actually, that 3-3 and I went to the Azteca when Almeida was Almeida. Sorry,
Almeida.
Yeah, when he was he was coaching Chivas. I went to the Azteca. That's when El Guli Peña was there, El Chofis. Chivas won. I think it was 3-0 or 2-0 at the Azteca. Chofi scored and I think Peña scored. And just being there live, it was crazy. It was my first time ever going to the Azteca, and when you walk in, you're like, holy crap, this stadium it's big. And it was funny because down here in the US, you can have like, let's say, like the supporter group for Atlanta United. You know how they come in and march from the parking lot to the stadium. Well, they do that over there in Mexico too. But here, like, let's say that they're marching and you're like in the middle of the march, they'll just go around you and they don't care. They'll go their way, Down there, it was funny because when we were coming in, I mean, this is our first time there ever. So we're going in through the gate for the local team for America. And there's people out there like selling jerseys, comida and all that. And then the porras, actually, they're not marching in, but they get off like, like the stereotype where, in most of the comedy shows, the Mexico or whatever, they fit in like 30 people in un camión. Well, it was like two full camiones of that, or like America fans just there, and they all get out and they start like marching into the stadium. And I'm standing there like trying to record like how it is, because I'm like, yo, this is impressive. Like, I know it's not the Chivas fan base, but it's cool how it looks. And this lady's like, hey, she's like, I have my Chivas jersey. She's like, hey, muévete de ahí porque si no te van a madrear. She's just like, yeah, she's just like, step back. And, and at that point, you kind of like notice the difference of the passions they have there. So it's amazing, the memories you make. It's crazy. And I think I wasn't expecting to go to the Azteca. I just kind of wanted to see Chivas play in the Azteca. And I was like, I was going there, and America was in a great moment. Chivas was, doing okay. I think that's when Almeida kind of started turning the team around apenas. So I wasn't expecting us to win. I just wanted to kind of experience it. And we won. And it's funny because I was just there in Mexico City for that day, and I was going to fly to my destination, to my dad's hometown. And the next morning, so we're like, okay, well, we didn't have any reservations for hotels or anything, so we're just like, yeah, let's stay in the hotel donde está el aeropuerto de la Ciudad de Mexico. So we stay there, and when we're going up through the elevator, I see the guy, the equipment manager for Chivas. He's like unloading all the bags and stuff like that, and he's going up. And I'm like, yo, like, I was like, is Chivas staying here? He's like, nah, we can't say anything. So when we check in and then we go upstairs, ahí estaba I don't know if you remember the striker from Monterrey, the Moreno, I think his name was. Not Didon.
Alfredo Moreno?
No, Alfredo Moreno, but he didn't play for Monterrey. There was Pablo, what was his name? He was captain for Monterrey. He was Colombian. Era Morenito.
Oh, is this a Pavon? Pavon? Moving in the strike.
I don't remember his name, but he was there with some chick in the lobby. And I was like, what is a Monterrey player doing here? But so I go up to the second floor, and that right on the second floor, when I get off my elevator, ahí están subiendo like Chofis, Saldívar, all those players. And I'll tell you what, the player that was actually pretty damn cool was Trophies. The rest of them like didn't want to stop for pictures or signing the jerseys. I mean, there was a couple of young players that stopped, but the rest of them were kind of like just like, you know, we want to go to our room. We don't want to stop. We don't want to take a picture, sign anything. And you know, and I'm looking at it like, yo, like Saldívar has never been a good player. Pa que se den el paquete, they're like, yo, we don't want to stop for a fan. You know, no matter
That's
like I
terrible.
get it that you're in the hotel, you want to go rest. But, you know, 2 minutes out of your time is not going to affect,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're not even a top player. Ya pa que te creas, el paquete is, yeah.
That's the
But yeah, that
Mm-hmm. So, Wally, you know, during the pandemic, and I remember that, you know, yo me sentía bien, yo sé jugar FIFA y todo. Yo pensé que, I remember we had like a little pandemic tournament, and it was like funny because they put it up on Twitch and everything. And tell me why Wally like destroyed me like 8-0, bro. Like, it was like the biggest humillación.
I never knew I like the FIFA career.
yeah.
Yeah. So Wally is actually a
Good
FIFA
job,
king.
Wally.
He's
Good
like
job.
undercover FIFA king. So,
I try.
Really?
tranquilo, Victor. So Wally, can you kind of real quick, just this is kind of like the final note here, but like, you know, how you still play FIFA? I mean, you're pretty talented, man, and I know you and I have talked about that. Like, you know, you've had some possibilities of kind of getting into the gaming and stuff like that. I know you got a lot going on, right? So I'm assuming, you know, life is crazy, but like, well, how did you become such a good FIFA player? And do you have any plans for that, or any thoughts, or any recommendations?
So honestly, I haven't played like in 2 or 3 months, you know, with this whole Cochos Cobb thing going on.
Right.
It's been, you know, time consuming, but you know, it actually it started like right before COVID. You know, I wasn't that good, but you know, with COVID, you know, kind of like working from home. So, you know, the whole like we don't know what's gonna happen with work. So they send us home, and you know, customers, you know, I do sell, so customers were kind of like iffy about buying stuff and stuff like that. So I had a lot of time in my hands, so I kind of just kind of took off with it. Um, and actually, Atlanta United had a you know, that amateur EMLS Cup. Um, so I made it to the top 8. I lost. So it's funny because I was playing with the guy that I was gonna play in the first game. It's just kind of like a little scrimmage to kind of just get a feel for the controllers and all that. So I beat the guy 5-0. And then the next game he like set up like a defensive lineup where it's like 5 guys in the back. So it's hard, like on FIFA, if you have 5 guys in the back, it's like really hard to attack them. So he ended up beating me 1-0 in the second round. But yeah, that's how I started thinking like, hey, you know, this is I can pretty much, you know, take this to the next level. But I never been like the big, you know, technology. Like it's hard for me like to start and get on Twitch and stuff like that. So I never thought about it. I know we spoke about it a few times, and it's funny because my little cousin, he is always like playing against me, you know, and I always kill him like maybe like 6 or 7-0, whatever. But I was like, yo, let's sign up for the EMLS Cup, the last one, the one from 2022. We both signed up and we both made it to the finals. So I was like, all right, let's play each other. So he actually beat me 2-1, and he made it to the EMLS Regionals Cup. So he played against other EMLS winners. I think he had he made it to the final against I think it was New York. He lost against a guy from New York, but he made it to the final. So for winning like the Atlanta United Cup, they're giving him I think it's 4 sweet tickets, a personalized jersey, and he's gonna have like a behind the scenes meet and greet with some of the players. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I mean, just for like winning a FIFA tournament, so it's pretty cool for him. He was able to go to the EMLS Regionals Cup and play that. He made it to the finals, so it's pretty cool. I was like, man, I didn't want to win the final. I was like, take it. I was like, you have a little bit more time than I do, but no, it's cool. I do it just for fun now. It's you know, I get competitive with it. I hate losing. So most of the time, they have like the weekend league, so it's like a 20 match weekend thing that you have to complete from Friday to Sunday. So I try to, stay between 14 matches minimum that I win. So most of the time it's like 14 wins, 6 losses. But a lot of the times I actually have played the Atlanta United, the guy that the actual professional player for Atlanta United.
Yeah,
The
Brazilian. Yeah. I think it's like
I played him. I
Moore
lost
or
a
something
bunch
like
to
that.
him. Yeah, and I also played the guy from Chivas. He's like a 16-year-old kid. Can't remember his name, Max something. I actually have a screenshot of my phone of me playing him, and I went to his Twitch, and I was watching the match, like me playing him and watching it at the same time. Um, so this dude's like a streamer, and he's freaking good. And I ended up playing him twice that same weekend. I lost both games to him, but I mean, I lost. The first match was like 3-0, and the second one was 2-1. So I'll take that as a win. But it's playing these guys they do this for a living. They play. I think that Brazilian guy was saying that he plays like 8 hours a day. You know, I don't play that much.
Yeah,
I used to get home and play maybe like 2 or 3 hours a day, and I just started getting busy. And now it's been about 2 months that I haven't played, so it'll be interesting. I'm not trying to get back into it because I know if I play, I get hooked.
I gotcha. And have you guys? Yeah, I'm assuming you've heard about FIFA and EA Sports, that kind of situation where they're going to part ways. Apparently, you heard anything about that? Or Victor?
Yeah. So EA Sports still gonna have their game, but it's not gonna be called FIFA anymore. And FIFA's actually bringing out their own game. But if you notice, on this new FIFA, actually Liga MX is not even on there.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, they went to Konami, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Have you played the Konami's games? I haven't
Yeah.
played.
I haven't. Edgar did. I think he sent me a video or something.
Yeah,
Like
so
the
it's called,
graphics, they look pretty cool, but
No, it's not.
Edgar definitely downloaded.
It's called eFootball 2023, and you can't even play, like, you can only play with like America or Chivas, and they're like apparently like later on they're gonna update it, but they haven't updated anything. So we've been hijacked.
Are the graphics good? Like, can you actually see Alexis Vega as Alexis Vega?
Not really. Some of them yes, but not everybody. But it's
Another debacle from
it's
the
not
league.
decent. I'm hoping maybe 2024 things will get better.
Yeah, well, hopefully with, the only bad thing about EA Sports is that it's all about how much money you can buy from them. The Ultimate Team, it's like there's players that invest thousands of dollars to try to get the best players. So when you play Ultimate Team, no matter, they do the match based off like rankings. So if you're ranked anywhere from like first division to elite, you're playing these players that are streamers that spend thousands of dollars, on their teams. And, I come here without, the only thing I spend is the actual, like, just buying the game. I don't spend money on, like, getting players. So, that it's that level of play, it's like you're going to play against players that spend so much money on it and you haven't spent anything on it. They have an advantage to it. But, I'm happy that EA Sports is not going to have those rights anymore. I'm hoping that the new game that they bring out, it's more of like a fair gameplay. It's not about how much you spend, but it's about like kind of like your skills. And I was hearing that the new game that FIFA is bringing out, it's gonna be like, basically you earn your coins or how you're able to buy players or whatever. They're gonna try to do like an Ultimate Team as well, but not the same concept. But it's more of how much you earn through like match playing, winning games, tournaments, and stuff like that. Instead of like, hey, I can put my credit card down and get the best players.
Right. All I look for in video games, to be honest, specifically FIFA, is just like the realism, the actual stadiums, the actual faces. So I'm hoping I'm probably going to end up getting both games, to be honest. And, I might not play like I used to, but I still want to be able to play at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and people, have like NBA 2K, for example. Like every team, every player has their face on it. I think that's like what makes it exciting. I like that realism. But now with all these rights and stuff, I mean, who knows what's gonna happen? But
yeah, because even Liga MX is not gonna be part of that new game, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least for us, like back when FIFA started like hitting the market for like the USA, because back then it wasn't as popular. They started putting MLS players in there, so they would have a cover like for the MLS. Well, for the North America, they would have a different cover for like Mexico, and then
They had him with the Mexico jersey. Remember that?
yeah,
They had a Kiki and they had Omar Bravo.
hmm and then in Europe they would have like that same year that they had Kiki and Omar Bravo on it. They had in Europe they had Rooney. So like the marketing was different, but you still had the chance to play with these players. Now, even though they looked like like a generic player, you had Omar Bravo and Kiki, and they just had like that white face on them, nothing specific. But I mean, at least just knowing that, hey, they had the jersey, But like I guess to me I never really cared about the graphics, more about the gameplay. And these past 3 FIFAs, the gameplay's been like more real, so I like it. But the graphics haven't been the best. You have one of the best players where Darwin Nunez, almost $100 million player, and they had this dude like until maybe a couple months ago, they had him bald, and this dude has like a ponytail.
Yeah. I hate those little things. But Wally, it's been an honor, man.
Can I just go ahead. Before we leave, the whole FIFA thing. I don't know about you, Wally, but it really bothers me, and I think it bothers Edgar. Why can't the goalkeepers, the next game that comes out, folks, please, can we get another jersey for the goalkeeper, please, please.
Yeah.
That way we can switch it up, man. It's been the same jersey for everyone, and then it's the color confusion. And can we switch to the shirts of the arbitros too? Simple little things, please. I don't ask for too much.
Yeah, especially like when you have a corner and the keeper has the same jersey as you do, like the same color. And it's supposedly they started like working on those small little details, and like if it hits the ref, it's supposed to restart. And it's funny because sometimes the ball just goes through the ref. I'm like, but it's better than like 10 years ago. I'll tell you that. It's an improvement, and especially like the community they built, because back then, everything was more of like career mode, playing FIFA. So they created Ultimate Team. So now it gives you the challenge to buy players and create good teams, or actually pro clubs. I have never played pro clubs. I don't think I would be good at that. But I'm sure you guys know what pro clubs is. Just get a group of friends and we all play together. I haven't never tried it, and I don't think I would be able to. I would suck at it. But it's a new community that they're bringing. And it's funny because they have all these dudes like what's that guy's name that big Cristiano Ronaldo fan that what's his name, Speed?
The Speed guy?
Speed, yeah, the streamer, yeah.
Yeah, so they all got famous because of stuff like that. Yeah.
That's insane, man. Well, hopefully we're waiting for Big J to get that PS5 so we can all join forces. Maybe we'll do a pro clubs one day just for the fun of it. See what happens. I think that'd be dope. Maybe during the summer.
They have tournaments for that too, so I'm down to join a pro club team. The only thing is, all my friends, most of them have Xbox, so
it's all about PlayStation.
Well, maybe there'll be a cross-platform possibility for the upcoming games.
They have it on Ultimate Teams. I don't think they have it for pro clubs yet. But you can still play like PC guys. But like playing PC guys, it's a big disadvantage. I mean, I don't know if it's the way, like, I don't know how they play, like if it's the controllers are quicker, easier to to press. But I mean, I have a hard time playing PC guys. At some point I just turned it off and I was like, I'm not playing PC guys anymore. It's a challenge. I'll play Xbox and PlayStation players all day. PC, I don't know.
Yeah, PC guys overall, they're a different breed. I know a few, and they're just, they're different species. Like, they're on it 24/7. Got the ultimate computer. It's probably like a little faster, probably messing with the lag. Who knows?
Yeah, they do have those faster processors, don't they?
Yeah. No, I don't know too much about that. Kind of stick to the console life, and VR maybe later on. But Wally, my man, thank you so much for being on and sharing your life story, your teams. kind of got some insight into what you got going on with Cochos FC, aka Cobb United. So we're excited to see what happens there. Got to see you battle it out with my cousin with the Clásico. This Americanista's a little bit more laid back. You know, he's not jumping off the walls. So
See, I like talking to people that know about their team because I'm sure as well as I encounter people. It's good talking with Chavisa that knows about their team. I talk to a lot of them that have no idea. They don't know the coach. They don't know the players. They're just, yo lo voy a las Chivas. But, okay, do you know more about your team? No, they don't know anything. But it is refreshing to talk to an actual real fan. So,
Edgar
great, man.
Edgar will tell you that I stay on Twitter arguing with other football fans. I hate when they say anything bad about Chivas. So at that point, I start arguing back.
All right.
I follow them. Back then I used to kind of keep a notebook of them. Let's say they would play the 19 jornadas, which I think that was it. So I'll keep tabs of like who would assist, who would score, what minute they would score. So all the stats, I would have them in a little booklet. That was my booklet for the season.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I still have a couple of those booklets sitting there, like just memories of like keeping all the stats, the assists, and that was back when Bofo and them were there, and so I used to like that. And when we're in the Copa Libertadores, so I kept the record of all that. I have them there somewhere. I'll bring them on next time.
perfect, epic times, man. No, for sure, man. I think later on in the future, we definitely got to do a trip, catch a game out there. I know you've got some experience in attending some of these stadiums, so we definitely gotta. Well, I think it would be epic to cover something like that, like a Clásico or even a Seleccion Mexicana game over there. Just do something epic to put out there in the world, and leave it for the memories and just see what happens, man. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. I don't know if you guys seen the that Argentinian comedian. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. That guy that he was talking about like So his brother-in-law was going to get married on the same day that the Mundial was going to be at. And
Ooh, that's a big party, folks. Don't ever do that, folks. Don't ever do that. No Super Bowls, no World Cups, please. Do not do that.
yeah, so he was talking about like, I'm not going, he's like, the lady's like, well, the teams that are going to play you don't even like. He's like, but it's the Mundial, I'm not going to miss them. So he was part of the whole media circus, and when Chivas America were playing, and they brought in these like Franco Escamilla, and they brought this guy, I don't know his name, but they brought him in, and he's talking about like he made a video with his wife, and of course just scripted, but he's like, anywhere you go, like if there's like, let's say I travel to Mexico, and he's like, and there's an important game, then I'm going to that game no matter what. He's like, I'll take a day off my vacation and I'll go to those games. So it was reminding me because my wife she gets mad because anywhere we go, like we go because I want to go watch a game. We went to the Barcelona, the Camp Nou, and we catch the Clásico there, Barcelona, Madrid. We went to like to Paris, and we caught the Champions League Liverpool Paris game. So she's always like, man, we're going to all these places, and everywhere we go, we're wasting time on soccer matches. She hates soccer, so she's like, I don't want to go. And this last trip we went, it was during COVID season, and we went to Guadalajara for 2 days. I know, actually it was 1 day. And she was like, okay, what are we going to do? So our plan was like, all right, we're going to go to Tequila, Jalisco, and, go to Cantaritos El Güero. I don't know if you guys heard of that, but it's like basically lit.
I think I've seen that on YouTube, I think.
Yeah. So live music and, the big cantaritos, everybody drunk, whatever. So we're going to do that. And then I look at the schedule, and like the day that we're landing there, like Chivas is playing Necaxa, a game that it's not even like a big game. And I'm like, yo, we're going to go catch that game. Screw everything else. We're going to the game. So we went to the game, and she's all pissed off like that we're at a game. And it was like raining. So it was even worse because it was raining. So she was pissed. She's like, our only day in Guadalajara, and we're going to go to a game, and it's raining. She was mad. But I was like, man, that's what I like doing. I like seeing all these new stadiums. Even if it's not the team I like, I went to the Modelo? The one in Torreon? The new one they made? Yeah. I mean, it was a Santos Leon game. I don't go for either one of those, but I just like looking at the stadiums, catching games, and she hates it. She hates it with a passion.
Dude, what a legend, man. That's epic. No, for sure. We're going to be catching a game, and doing some stadium tours, and we just want to be prepared, man. When the World Cup comes, we got to be able to be anywhere we want to be. So that's the goal, man. So definitely, you're definitely going to be part of the team when it comes to this World Cup coverage, because you
Definitely, we have to go to the opening game for Mexico, and I'm sure it's going to be in El Azteca.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're there.
I'm down to go there. I have a spot we can stay at over there, so all we need to do is just book our flights. We don't even have to
stop.
There we go.
We'll end it with that.
So
see you 2026.
Yeah, so my suegro has a place there next to El Estadio de Toluca. So yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
So we can stay there, go to Azteca, and catch the game.